Chapters 28, 29, and 30 of Shri Krishna, the Lord of Love, by Baba Premanand Bharati. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 28. So night wore away, and in the early morning hours, Akrura was ready to start on the journey with Rama and Krishna. But great was the wail and heart-rending the lamentations that came from the hearts of the gopis. With tear-filled eyes they rushed to his home and pleaded and prayed that he stay in their midst, for to them life seemed impossible without him, and Vrindavan could not be blessed when he ceased to walk thereon. And what would the cattle and flowers and trees do without the sound of his love-touched flute? O remain with us, Krishna, O Lord of our hearts. O keep close to our land, most beautiful one. Broken are our hearts, bowed low our spirit at the thought of our lives without thy presence to cheer us. Dull are our minds and leaden our hearts by the pain of thy going. O leave us not in this ocean of sorrow, but stay where we ever may look on thy face. O thou who shapest all that is, who hast knitted our hearts to thyself, how canst thou tear it away from us who know the sweetness of its love and the fruits that spring therefrom? Once having known thy smile, O Krishna, how can we bear the dawning of day without the light of thy smile, in which the concentrated beauty of thy whole creation lies, to fill it and make each day whole? And how can we see the shadows of night thicken and darken, and know that no more we will roam in forest and dance in the moonlight with thee, our beloved? O depart not from us, thou in whom we are buried, thou whose love doth envelop us all, thou whose universe embrace around us is entwined. O go not from out our midst, we implore thee. Thus tearing their tresses and weeping, the gopis clung to the wheels of the chariot in which Krishna and Rama sat ready to start on their journey to Mathura. Then Krishna arose, and looking deep in the eye of each, he waved his hand in farewell, and left the smile of bliss with them that filled each soul to overflowing. Then forward the restless chargers plunged, the dust rising high and quite covering the chariot. The maids stood like hewn marble, still yet serene, and the cattle that grazed on the hillside turned towards the road where the chariot vanished, in their eyes a look of yearning love, while the deer on the brow of the hill, with arched neck and wild, shy glance, heaved a quick, short sigh as if hurt. And the soft breasts of the singing birds quivered, and a little sad song burst from their throats, while the trees and the flowers hung limp and wilted as if the glad life had left their hearts. A groan arose from the wild beasts in the forest, as if in the hand of death they were trapped. The sun vanished from the skies, and all nature seemed clothed with the garment of sadness. Then forth the sun burst in glorious splendor, as the joy of the smile of the Lord of Love awoke in potency to bless all living things whereon it had fallen. And sweet Vrindavan in silence lay, forever blessed and forever beloved, for the feet of him who was God had walked there and made holy its soil. Chapter 29. And the chariot bearing Akrura, Rama, and Krishna was followed close by the carts bearing Nanda and the Gopas, who carried gifts for the king Kamsa, to whom all must present the best of their store. On reaching the banks of the Jamna, Krishna and Rama in sportiveness descended from the chariot and dipped in the sacred waters of the river, then ascended again to the chariot. Whereat Akrura the ambassador had a dip in the water too, reciting the sacred texts in the meanwhile, when lo, in the waters where he stood, he beheld the laughing Krishna and Rama sitting in the lap of the god of water. Amazed and bewildered he gazed towards the chariot, where last he had seen the brothers, and there they sat talking as when he had left them. Again he dipped his head neath the waves of the water, and again he saw Rama and Krishna, and knew that his senses were not deluded. Krishna, though seemingly a youth with all a youth's sportiveness and play, yet was the Lord incarnate. And near the cart Akrura looked in the eyes of Krishna, where the wisdom that created the universe lay, and answered the questioning gaze thus: Lord, none is there as wonderful as thou art. All hast thou created, and in thee is all creation. All have I seen that there is to see. And the chariot proceeded towards Mathura. Chapter 30. Noon reigned in the city of Mathura, when the chariot, bearing the two sons of Vasudeva, entered that city. The fame of the deeds and the beauty of Rama and Krishna was known in all that kingdom, and their coming to partake of its celebrations, and to participate in the sports and wrestling, at the command of Kamsa the king, had been heralded all over the land. And the populace was glad and knew not why, and they said in their hearts, Krishna the youth, the wonderful youth of Vrindavan, will grace our land by his coming. So the streets were crowded to welcome him there, and the tops of the houses were flowered with the bright faces of women who gazed from there to catch the first glance of him whom rumor had crowned the most glorious youth of the then known world. O beauty, how potent art thou, O conqueror of all, that winneth the heart of the lowliest child, and enslaveth the heart of the proud queen of the world, that slaketh the thirst of the parched soul, and tutoreth the dullest mind, never quickened by thought. So, mid blare of trumpets and with banners unfurled, the Lord of Love entered Mathura, and above the roar of the celebrations and preparations rose the murmurs and shouts of greetings from the sea of upturned faces of men, and from the canopy of sweet downcast eyes of women that thronged to see his coming. And millions of tongues repeated his name and sang his praises, and millions of souls were flooded with love, because they had looked on his face and said his name, which was as potent as his love. For his name contained himself, and those who uttered his name had him in their hearts, and lo, the world to them was complete. Majestic and vast he walked mid the worshipping people, who saw but a youth of transcendent beauty, but felt the unfathomable mystery, the unknowable grandeur, worthy to receive their deepest obeisance. Through the streets of Mathura he went, bringing light to all whereon his smile fell. And Kamsa the tyrant grew cold and grey, for he knew his doom was drawing nigh, and his sleep was disturbed by evil dreams, for he knew already the populace was welcoming him whom none could look upon but to love. End of chapter 30.